Alright, so another video. I know this is shortly after the last one, but campaigns moved up a little bit quicker than I expected, so there's a few lore drops that I want to get out of the way just so given the limited amount of time that we have to actually play the game, I want to spend most of that playing the game as opposed to me having to explain things. So today we're going to be talking about the Abyss. So the Abyss, it is the spherical shape at the base of Hell itself. So you've got the 9 hells up on top, Gehenna and Hades with Limbo in the center, and then down at the bottom you've got the Abyss. So the Abyss itself in the sphere is separated into many layers. These layers start from 0 all the way to 999 that are currently known. And the only way to access each layer is through portals that are on the surface of the Abyss, which is known as the Zeroth Layer. When you make a portal to the Abyss, this is where you end up going, even though those are exceedingly rare. And of course, if you physically land on the planet, it is going to be the Zeroth Layer. Now, each of these layers, you can't physically dig to them. They are only accessible by these portals. And these layers themselves, most of them are infinite. They go on and stretch off for eternity. Many of them are within caverns and cave systems where you can, in theory, go up and touch and feel the next layer of the Abyss. There's also other ones that have very scenic views. They have celestial bodies that do not exist in our world. Some of them have, twin suns in the distance, and some of them have no astrological bodies whatsoever, but you see darkness just constantly going up that's not a ceiling. So there's a lot of mystery about this, and if you are on one of those layers that just spreads off for eternity, or you see multiple planets, can you actually, go walk to those other worlds? These are questions that adventurers may need to solve at some point. Who knows? We'll see where everything takes us. So I mentioned something about portals earlier, that when you create a portal to the Abyss, or you teleport to the Abyss in some way, shape, or form, if you're high enough of a caster that you can do this, more times than not, you end up on the Zeroth Layer of the Abyss. Actually creating portals to the Abyss is extremely taxing and difficult, to the extent that demons don't normally enter the material plane, simply because the cost of getting there is so expensive. There are some weird ways that they can get to the material plane. For instance, a demon may disconnect themselves from their physical form and travel to the material plane itself and then possess someone. And once they have full control of this person, which is a process that could take anywhere from weeks to months to years, in order to truly corrupt the individual, at which point they can explode out of the individual and bring themselves onto the material plane. And of course, if they get killed on the material plane, then they just get brought back to the Abyss. So, and given that demons have infinite time to deal with, as they're immortal, this is a way that a lot of demons go about getting to the material plane. Of course, good priests can exorcise these demons out, and then the demon just loses time, which can be an annoyance to them. But actually creating a portal itself is extremely costly. When we were in Menzoberranzan, and the Baffumat was there along with many of his minions, they had these portals that opened up into the Abyss. That would be an extremely costly item to make. The transmutation of tens of thousands of souls would go into creating any one of those. So creating portals regularly to go from your layer of the Abyss to the material plane to collect souls generally is not very valuable. You would only be doing it if there was something of very high value on the other end that you needed quickly, and so that's when you would actually invest in something like that. So once you get to the Abyss itself, like I said, you end up on the Zeroth Layer. Now, the Zeroth Layer is probably the closest to a biblical interpretation of hell that there is. Lakes of fire, burning sulfur exists everywhere, brimstone, volcanic activity, demons running all over the place, torturing souls. So it's a very chaotic place to be. And once you're there, There's a series of portals everywhere scattered across the landscape. And the Abyss is one of those weird places that as you walk through it, it doesn't necessarily change, but it's infinite in size. So you continue to walk and you will continue to find new things. This is how new portals are discovered. And then once you actually find the portal, you need to open it, which may involve specific rituals for different layers. It may require sacrifices. It may require that certain astrological bodies are aligned in the correct order in order to open up these layers to the Abyss. And these are all things that allow demon lords to really select what layers of the Abyss they want, whether they want a lot of seclusion and make it extremely hard for people to get in and out of their lair. That could be something that they want. This would be someone that is more interested in maintaining themselves as opposed to garnering more power, because it's very difficult for them to get in and out. And there are other ones that are very easy to access. These portals are open almost all the time. You can just pop through and, hey, here I am. So there's a lot of different ways that these portals interact with each other. And finding the right portal that you want, because it's not like it's just marked with, hey, oh, this is 471. Cool. You actually have to figure out what portal this is going to take you to, and some portals may open up to different layers of the Abyss at different time, given different circumstances. So all crazy, chaotic, and learning how to traverse the Abyss is extremely difficult. This is something that elves have some of them have dedicated their entire lives to, and just started to scratch the surface of understanding of what it takes to traverse the Abyss. So there is no one ruler of the Abyss, unlike Hades and Hell. The Abyss is a plane of chaos. It's a place of absolute chaos. There are certain demon lords, are their names, the individuals who rule here, and they will rule anywhere from one to, or part of a layer to multiple layers of the Abyss. And there are some powerful layers, some big ones. We're just going to go over a couple of the main ones, and also ones that are specific to our story itself. Of course, this is something we can go back to if things devolve and we go to different layers, but the big main ones are Demogorgon. He is arguably the most powerful demon lord in existence. He is known as the Prince of Demons, and he's seen as a two-headed baboon with tentacle arms. He is at war with several of the other large power players that we'll get into, but given the size and army that he has, he is one of the demon lords that's actually able to advance and attack on the 9 hells, because he just simply has enough resources to fight the battle at home and away. So he's a very, very powerful individual. So Orcas, he is probably the second most powerful. He is known as the Demon Lord of the Undead and the Prince of Necromancy. So he is one of the original casters, one of the original mages that was able to create necromancy. And this kind of plays into his backstory, which if we want to, we can go into in another video. The one thing about Orcas is that he despises everyone. And that includes his followers. Like cults of Orcas, he holds nothing but disdain for any living being. The only beings that he can somewhat stand are the undead minions that he controls, and that's only because he has pure control over them. They still disgust him. He hates absolutely everyone and everything. This guy is a piece of work. So the last of the 3 main demon lords is Gratz, and this kind of rounds out what is called the Power 3. These are the main demon lords. They hold the most power, and they also fight amongst each other the most, and they're also the ones that really have the power to take the fight onto other planets and planes. So Gratz was actually the son of Asmodeus, the ruler of the 9 hells. On an expedition that Gratz led early on in the Blood War, he conquered 3 layers of the Abyss and simply never left. There's a lot of questions as to whether or not Gratz is actually a demon lord, or if he's still an Archduke of Hell, because he was the Archduke of the 9th layer of Hell back in the day. Is he still, as the 9th layer is held by a whole bunch of pit fiends? So there's a lot of questions about them. He is very much so not like most of the other demon lords. He is very structured, very ordered. He's also extraordinarily beautiful, unlike the other demon lords. I mean, so he's very, very different. He's a bit of an amalgamation and interesting character. So we got Baffumat. He's probably on the same level as Demogorgon, Orcas, and Groust, but he's not counted in the power threes of legend and lore, and that's something that really bothers him. He feels like he's overlooked constantly. He is the demon lord and father of Minotaurs, and he's the ruler of the Endless Maze. This is where he conducts a lot of experiments to create new dark demons and beings. Some of them are so horrible that he locks them away in a vault, never to be seen again. He doesn't want to kill his creations, but even those things are so terrifying that he doesn't even want to deal with them. He doesn't want to see them unleashed upon the world because they're so terrible. He's a big time power player as well. He can wage war on other planes, and he's always thinking. A lot of times people think of Minotaurs as not very smart creatures. He is most definitely a big brain thinker. He's doing some of those 1000 IQ plays. So yeah, he's someone to look out for, and someone that you guys have already come in contact with. So the Pale Knight. The Pale Knight actually resides in a shell layer, so a layer within a layer of the Abyss, and is the concubine of Baphomet. She is known as the mother of demons. She has had many consorts and lovers throughout the millennia and has birthed many, many demons and demon lords. She is one of the original demon lords as well. She's been around since the Abyss came into inception. She's physically depicted as a female figure with a blanket or shroud over her. It's blowing in the wind, giving a womanly figure underneath. But legend has it that the figure underneath is so hideous that it would cause madness in even the most stalwart of minds. So last demon lord we're going to talk about is Inagu. He is the demon lord of Knolls, and he is not so much a big player like the other demon lords. He doesn't even really fight within the Abyss that much. He's one of the more of those secluded individuals. He just enjoys, when he can, getting out and eating. His big thing is he likes to eat the flesh of intelligent beings. He has an unending hunger for this, and this is something that he has passed on to his children. The way that the legend goes is that he was on the material plane, and after feasting on the flesh of 10,000 innocents, he sated his bloodlust by mating with a pack of hyenas, and from this the Knolls were born, and they share the same desire and lust for the taste of intelligent human beings. So that's where they come from. He is definitely much more of a force of nature than a big brain player. When he and his minions get unleashed on the world, it is going to cause untold destruction, but other than flat destruction, there's no bigger thing that they're attempting to do, nothing that they're really trying to accomplish other than having a meal. So yeah, that's the main stuff I want to talk about with the Abyss. There's so much more, and if more is necessary, then I'll make more videos about it, but yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Try and keep this video a little bit shorter, closer to the 10-minute mark. And yeah, questions, comments, Discord, YouTube, wherever it's easier for you to get a hold of me. And yeah, I'll see you guys when we play.